Welcome to round 3 of the Parenting Roundabout podcast for the week of January 23rd. I'm Catherine Haleko, and I'm here with Nicole Eridix.
Hello.
And Terry Morrow.
Hello.
We're moms of teens and young adults, and when it comes to parenting, we've been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. But we're still waiting for that day when we'll reach the finish line and have no further need to lay down in a dark room with a wet rag over our eyes, worrying about something or other. Wednesday's complaint day here on Parenting Roundabout, so buckle up. Today we are complaining about the idea that we need a fancy name for becoming a mother. According to this article on the HuffPost, that name is matrescence. Yeah. So basically like adolescence, but matrescence. Like okay. Nothing to do with mattress where you sleep. So, yeah, I mean, the concept that this is a huge, tumultuous change in your life makes sense. But do we need a special word? I don't know. Terry?
Terry is an elderly crank week.
Yes, let's hear it. I can't wait.
Thinking, get over yourselves. Come on. Every phase of life is difficult. What are we going to call people who become moms by adoption? Because we had way more time before the stage of having the baby. And lots of emotional upheaval, adoptescence. Do I get a fancy name?
But here's the question, though.
I think that they mean this to apply to...
Yeah.
But it's...
Okay, but here's the question, Terry.
Just do the work in front of you, basically, and shut up.
Wasn't it kind of a shock, though? Because if you're pregnant and carrying a baby, you're emotionally, you're kind of like preparing that you're like, that your hormones are changing, all those kinds of things are changing, right? Whereas with adopting a child, I think it'd be far more dramatic because, yes, you are mentally preparing for the child, right?
I was staying in a room in a Russian apartment for weeks. I was very, very ready. Let's go. Let's take these kids. I don't care.
I'm just wondering it's more of a shock to the system to all of a sudden have this human being in your life.
Yes, it was in some ways, but in other ways it was, life is a series of, here's a new challenge. Let's jump in. From when you're a child, you're starting school, going to a new school, everything in your life is a challenge. And I don't know, it seems like, all right, you wanted a kid, you got a kid. Stop whining, just go with it.
Just suck it up.
I also wonder if we're going to call it matrescence based on adolescence, are we going to do the same thing adolescents screw up. We know this about adolescents. They're just getting used to being adults and stuff. So if they crash the car, well, they learned a good lesson. If they, get drunk one night and throw up on the couch, they learned a good lesson. Are we going to say about parents, well, they dropped the baby. They learned a good lesson. Or, your hormones are screwed up. You don't know what you're doing. If they just leave the kid at home and just take a long drive for a couple of hours, that's what happens. It's just do your job, Just do your thing. Just stop whining.
Oh my God.
It was a lot of work for me to get kids. I wasn't going to sit around whining when I finally got them, is what I'm saying.
Okay, fair enough.
You were going to worry about them, and you were going to make them your whole life's work.
I had all those toys to buy, and I had to schedule them for a whole bunch of stuff, so I had no time for anything else. I just got with it. I just started.
Okay, you just jumped in.
Some fool finally gave me children. I'm going to run.
That's funny. Okay, but I still do feel like it is sometimes helpful to put a label on things because then you can name it and identify it and, it's not, it doesn't make you feel like it's just you. Okay, because seriously, when I had my first child, it was traumatic to say the least. It was physically and emotionally, it hit me like a train. And And I was just like, it was not a good time. Like, I don't look back on it as a positive. I mean, of course, don't get me wrong. It's like, there was like, I totally loved him, all that other stuff, right? But
Right.
man, as for myself, it was like, what is this? And then I felt like I was the only one. And
Yeah.
everybody around me, all the new moms were like, oh my God, this is so wonderful. And they're sleeping through the night and they're feeding no problem. And I'm so happy. And I've lost all my baby weight and my husband helps me. And I'm like,
You're like, who are you?
I was so mad because nobody else around me was being honest and saying, look, this is really friggin' hard. Okay.
Right.
And my whole life has
like
changed.
If there was a name for it, they would have said, oh, is that what you were talking about? Yeah, my life sucks.
I think it makes it more acceptable socially. Because then people just think that you're whining.
Well, you kind of.
If I said that I was through Matra.
Do I have any resentment over the fact that some people could just have babies when they want to? Okay. Maybe I do.
No, I'm just saying, like, however you acquire your children, it's a big change. Like,
well, sure.
It's a huge change, and it's not. Catherine, where are you? Jump in.
No, I yes, it is a huge change. I do think it is. I mean, it's a huge change, but it's also something that's almost universal. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I think maybe what the problem that you experienced, Nicole, which I totally, think happens, is like people not admitting or people not talking about the hard parts, right?
Yes. See, if you had a label, then you could be like, this is legit. It makes it legit. It makes it more talkable
do we feel
about.
that is always what happens with labels? I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I am an elderly crank, this whole thing, reading this, made me think of, like, I hear the voice saying, in my day, women used to drop babies in the field and strap them on their back and keep working. They didn't need no fancy name. People have been having babies for a long time without a label. Maybe they could. But, I mean, at the same time, I do completely agree that finding your tribe is important.
Yeah.
Finding the moms who want to talk about how hard it is important. Doesn't mean everybody needs to. Doesn't mean you need a label to do that. You just need to find your people. It was hard to find people who are in the same boat as me with the adoption. And I wound up finding them on social media. And it was just an enormous difference to be able to say, hey, I'm seeing this, anybody else, and have them say, yes, this is what I did, or this is what an expert told me, or whatever. That's really important. But I think that we should be able to do that without, goodness, there are a lot of labels. And I'm not sure that the desire for this is pure of heart. Desire to call this something. I think. But I mean, I agree that it can be extremely discouraging to find that people are not having the same experience as you, and finding people with the same experience is very helpful. When your kid has to go to early intervention and you sit in a waiting room with a bunch of moms of kids with disabilities, that's another way to find it. That was nice. Even though they had given birth and I had not, still, we could say, why is she not talking? Why is he not walking? Why?
Right.
Whereas if you went to a regular preschool, it would be, Susie is 20 words today. Yay! Anyway.
Yeah. The finding your people.
Yes. Whatever you need to do that. But start a Facebook group. You don't need a label.
Start a podcast.
Start a podcast. What are they going to call podcast moms? Podressants.
Podressants.
The stage at which
parenting.
you realize that the only way to get through it is to talk about it on a microphone.
About your child.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is somebody else out there who is having the same experience as you, almost assuredly. And there's another mom out there who is saying, I don't like these labels.
That's your tribe, Terry.
Hit me up on Twitter. I'm in Momitude. Let's talk.
Yep. That's your people.
Yep. Sarcastic people.
Sarcastic people.
We'll have our sarcassence.
There you go.
Sarcasm.
I think that's where we leave it. Sarcascence, our new term.
Yeah. Tune in tomorrow when we'll obsess about goals for our kids, and then on Friday to see what we've come up with for our Roundup picks for this week. Find all our episodes at parentingroundabout.com and talk back in the comments there, on our Facebook page, or on Twitter, where you'll find us at Roundabout Chat.